Hello, and welcome to Next Week Now, the only news show. I'm Logan Thomas, and some of you may remember me from my older segments, such as the time I single-handedly banned being shirtless in America, or the time that I single-handedly transformed the entire city of Austin into a giant dog park. I've been gone for quite a while, but tonight, I'm back. And I'm pissed. We've been having issues with the What We Missed segment ever since the start of season 2, when some homeless man walked into the studio and demanded that we either give him some money or allow him to host the show. Obviously, we didn't want to give any homeless man any amount of our hard-earned taxpayer money, so we were forced to let him host our news program. And ever since, he's swamped our show with controversy after controversy, from the time that he tried to rob a grave during the funeral, to the time that he attempted a skinny dip on air, or to the time that he literally waterboarded journalists to get news that was already known to the public. But we haven't been able to fire him because, well, it's not like any of us want to do this every week. And once we kick him off, he'll go back to demanding that we give him some of our American cash. But earlier this week, the What We Miss host was sent to prison for selling counterfeit baseball cards to the Dalai Lama. So I decided to pick up the slack, but only because last night in my dream, a talking cricket came to me and promised that if I host the show tonight, I could become a real boy once and for all. No more will I be a broken, wooden puppet of globalist cucks. After tonight, I will be a fleshy, meaty, American-loving boy. So without further ado, let's move on to what we're all here for, the news. Now, this season, our usual host has been finding new and more stupid ways to lose our hard-earned American points every week. But tonight, we're holding on to those sweet, sweet patriotic points. And just for that, let's start our total at a whopping 69 points. That's what we're starting with. Last week, 2 black men were arrested in a Philadelphia Starbucks within minutes of entering the store for trespassing. And sure, right now, it appears that these men were wrongfully arrested, presumably due to racial bias that plagues our entire nation. But you see, we don't know the full story yet. For all we know, the 2 men might have been entering the Starbucks with sinister intentions, like wanting to purchase a cup of coffee. And if that's the case, they probably still shouldn't have been arrested. But what if, after they had purchased their cup of coffee, they were planning to use the restroom? I mean, it doesn't get any scarier than that, right? Right? Okay. Anyway, earlier this week, Coachella started, and it's really had one hell of a lineup. Sure, everyone keeps talking about the so-called yodel kid, the underage boy who possesses the rare ability to communicate with bats through his high-pitched shrieking. But Coachella fans everywhere have really left out so many other equally exciting performances, such as Ping Sling, the swing king who sings in wingdings, Everything But the Sink, an experimental Amish band that performs with various kitchen equipment, and of course, my brother Gary, who cannot sing nor dance, but likes to pretend that he can just because he knows how to spell. Listen, Gary, you're not the only person who knows how to spell. It's a very common skill to have. You're a moron and our parents never loved you. Moving on. Last week, we predicted that the U.S. would begin requiring guns to be completely transparent. Why we would predict something so incredibly absurd, I have no idea. Of course, there are still no such things as clear guns. But you know what else is clear? Plastic water bottles. And guess what? Plastic water bottles kill more American sea life than any gun could. So in a way, aren't clear water bottles worse? For some mental gymnastics, I grant ourselves 351 points. All right, the 10th annual Shorty Awards were broadcast this past Sunday, and for those of you unfamiliar with the awards ceremony, it's essentially 2 hours of the future that liberal cucks want. Prizes range from Emoji of the Year to Best Use of WhatsApp, and one award presenter was clearly upset that his life decisions had led him to that stage. American actor Adam Pally had an actual midlife crisis in front of millions of Americans, embarrassing both himself and the shorties with statements such as, "This is the worst night of my life," "This is hell," and "If you want me to host next year, hard pass." And I've just got to say, Adam, if you're trying to regret every decision you've ever made while hosting a television show that feels like hell, then I've got the place for you. Come join Next Week Now, the only news show. We air weekly so you can experience lifelong regret even more often. We pay no money, so you can't justify your decisions with a salary. And best of all, we have actual connections to the squid. Please, we're real desperate to get someone else on the show so we can finally get rid of this homeless guy. If you're interested, just call the number at the bottom of your screen. The Michael Cohen news got even spicier this week when it was revealed that Sean Hannity, frequent Trump and Cohen defender, was a secret client of Cohen. Hannity's come under fire recently for asserted conflicts of interest, but in all honesty, I think Hannity's done nothing wrong. I mean, who could blame Hannity for wanting Cohen as his lawyer? I mean, between his rugged good looks and down-to-earth American charm, who could resist his legal services? Now, responsibly, I do have to disclose that in complete honesty, I too am a client of Michael Cohen. But seriously, can you blame me? Look at the guy. Between his rugged American looks and secret butt tattoo of 2 monkeys eating banana bread, how could you deny wanting him to fill out some legal documents for you? I don't care if I have literally no need for a lawyer. I just can't resist him. Besides, he got his law degree at Trump University, so you know he's good at what he does. Even if I have no legal disputes that need resolving, you bet that American boy Michael could create some on my behalf. Last week, we predicted that Facebook would come out with some new features this week, such as the tapping button or the pooper scooper. And okay, yeah, there were no new features on Facebook, but the other day I got real sick and I had to scoop my poop into the toilet, which is kind of close to what we said would happen. So for that, I'm granting us 246 points. Sick. On Tuesday, a near disaster was averted when a brave pilot was able to make a safe emergency landing after the plane lost one of the engines. All of the passengers were grateful that they had landed safely, except for one man who mistakenly believed that he had purchased tickets to a new roller coaster ride at Six Flags. When asked about the incident, he went on to say, "The ride was definitely fun and exciting. Its realism factor definitely took me by surprise, but it took way too long to get up the initial lift track, and there wasn't much variation in the ride experience. Also, the tickets were incredibly expensive for a single ride. 2 out of 10, definitely would not recommend." With the exception of that one idiot, the passengers praised the heroic pilot, who was shockingly a woman. As most of you know, women were not invented until a mere 12 years ago, and it was much more recently that women were first allowed to fly, after fighting a fierce battle about whether or not they should be allowed to. Most people against the concept cite a specific passage of the Bible in their defense, which reads, "One day, man shall invent stupid mechanical machines that defy literally all of the rules of physics I invented specifically to keep mankind on the ground. Even though I will be pissed regardless over mankind's blatant disrespect of gravity, which I spent at least 3 hours creating, under no circumstance should man ever allow women to fly these stupid mechanical machines, or else I will be even extra pissed." Luckily, women were able to defeat the scripture and won the right to fly planes. But with this new event in the hearts and minds of Americans everywhere, it looks like sexism will be solved forever. Just a few days ago, former First Lady Barbara Bush passed away. Known as an advocate for keeping the fetus inside a woman until the child's 12th birthday, and for punishing people with the death penalty for drinking or driving, her death is surely a sad event for all good American boys and girls. But what her death really means is this: George Bush Sr. is single and ready to mingle. That's right, you cucks. The beautiful George H.W. Bush is ready to partake in sexual intercourse with new humans. And if any of you even think about stealing him from me, I will be extremely angry. H.W. is mine and mine alone. So even though we all agree that President number 41 is a big hunk of beefcake, everyone who is not me better lay off. Got it? Okay. Last week, we predicted that Throwback Thursday would go way too far, taking the city of Minneapolis all the way back to the year 1887. And okay, fine. Minneapolis is still in the present day, unfortunately, but hear me out. Earlier this week, my grandma discovered Instagram and has been obsessed with it ever since. Today, she discovered Throwback Thursday and has become consumed by a never-ending quest to throw back to Thursdays of yesteryear. She won't stop listening to Gangnam Style or 2009 Kids Bop CDs. It's hell, and someone has to put a stop to it. But if I have to keep dealing with it, you better believe I'm going to give us some points for it. Specifically, 1887 points, putting us at a whopping total of 2,553 points. That angry homeless man better not lose those precious points on us next week. That'll do it for me. My name is Logan Thomas, and this has been What We Missed. Now let's take a quick ride in the hot seat.